Okay, hello everybody and welcome to our book study tonight. We are doing chapter 8 in Developing the Leader Within You 2.0, and this chapter is so amazing. I feel like we could spend the whole time on page one, but we're not going to, but we could. Okay. Look at the title of this chapter. It is the indispensable quality of leadership. Indispensable. That's a big word. What is that, 4 or 5 syllables? Indispensable quality. I looked up that word, and that word means absolutely necessary. The absolutely necessary quality of leadership is having and communicating clearly your vision. This is huge. He says in the first pages is that without vision, energy wanes, you miss deadlines, things fall by the wayside, everybody turns off, team members scatter. Have you ever experienced that? Because I have. Somebody gets to silver or gold and then drops off the planet. Am I speaking to anybody besides me? But with it, your energy surges. People are excited. You're excited. Your production increases. You're in momentum. You're having people join. You've got a thriving team. Vision also gives significance to the seemingly mundane tasks that we have to do every single day, the meaningless details of our job. In the second paragraph, Maxwell gives a quote by Andy Stanley, and I have to read this. It's so good. He says, "Vision gives significance to the otherwise meaningless details of our lives. Too many times the routines of life begin to feel like shoveling dirt, but take those same routines, those same responsibilities, and view them through the lens of vision, and everything looks different. Vision brings your world into focus. Vision brings order to chaos. A clear vision enables you to see everything differently. It enables you to see posting differently, expanding your network differently. It gives meaning to those otherwise mundane tasks." He also makes the point that vision sets direction for your lives. It's like having a roadmap. Your vision sets your priorities and your action. It helps keep you focused. Your vision creates passion. Your vision is a picture. What is it? It's a picture of the future that produces passion. And he says, he quotes Bill Hybels, he says, "There's no such thing as an emotionless vision. A vision has to contain emotion, and it brings your passion to the forefront." This quote blew my mind, especially because my daughter did a report on Helen Keller last year, and someone asked her what would be worse than being born blind. And she said, to have sight without having vision. Think about that. You can have sight and not have vision. That is a true tragedy in life. So he goes on to say, what does, vision statements, and he talks about leaders all have one thing in common. They see more and before others. They see more and before others. It allows their followers to expand their vision and to act more quickly. And point number 1, he says, why is vision so important for leaders? Because you must be able to see what others can't, okay? And his first point is what you can see determines what you can be. What you can see determines what you can be. Okay, what you can see is the greatest. Okay, my mind was blown when he said this. John Maxwell, the greatest leadership guru in America and possibly the entire world, said that this is the greatest motivational principle in the entire world. You do what you see. That's why people are on Pinterest. That's why people are on Instagram. They do what they see. That's the greatest motivational principle in the world. And that's why you have to see, and you have to see before, before others do, okay? People depend on leader for visual stimulation and direction. That's why the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. Your people will do what they see you doing, okay? Then he said he splits up everybody into 4 kinds of people. 1, they never see the vision. They never see the future, and they're wanderers. 2, you see it but never pursue it. They're followers. 3, you see it and pursue it, and those are your achievers. But the 4th kind of people is those that see the vision, remember the future reality, see the vision, pursue it, and then help others to see it and pursue it. That is a true leader. And that is what we all aspire to be. And that's what we're growing into. He says that most people fall into the first 2 categories and they never even have a dream. Those that are willing to follow don't go after the dream directly, but they follow the leader who possesses a dream and who have the ability to communicate it effectively. That statement blew my mind. Even if your people don't have a dream, if you do, and I do, if you can communicate it effectively, which is exactly what Brittany does all the time, you will get people to follow you. And that's what she's done. Before I could even believe it for myself, I believed in her. That's why developing your vision and being able to communicate it is so, so important. Okay? People are following you. They will join you before they have a vision of their own. You nurture the dream and take responsibility for it. Okay? Only when that happens can the vision grow and the leader attract a following, Maxwell says. You couple a vision with a leader who's willing to implement the dream, and he says on page 167, a movement will begin. Okay? Couple the vision with a leader that's willing to implement it, a movement begins. Okay? He says you must have the vision and then you must mine for gold. This man didn't even know what he was writing, because we talk about that all the time. If you knew that there was gold in your backyard, you would keep going, right? You wouldn't give up after 5 square feet or 10 square feet. If you knew that there was a couple gold bricks in your backyard, you would dig that whole blooming yard up. When you have that vision, you keep going because you're mining for gold. Okay, what you see, and that's the power of the vision, what you see determines what you can be. If you see where you're going, you can be it. If you don't see it, you're never going to get there. His second point is you see only what you are prepared to see. You have to prepare for your vision to become a reality. You have to anticipate it. When we are excited about what's ahead, we're highly motivated and we prepare diligently. That's the power of a contest. Have you thought about that? We worked our butts off to get on a cruise, right? People work their butts off for shopping sprees or to get to a rank. When you see it, you prepare. You only see what you're prepared to see. When we've got to be, we're highly motivated and we prepare diligently, okay? You see only what you are prepared to see. Number 3, what you see is what you get. Most people will only believe it when they see it, but true leaders with vision believe it and then they see it. I heard a pastor say it this way: there's always 2 creations. The first creation is in the mind. The second is in reality. The first creation is in the mind. The second is in reality. And he gives the story about the grand opening of Walt Disney World or Land, I'm not sure which one. And the man stood up and he said, I only wish that Walt was here to see it because it opened after Walt Disney died. And Mrs. Walt Disney stood up and she said, he did. And then she sat back down. He knew what was to come. He saw it. So what you see is what you get. When you see it, you will get it. The leader must strive to see more and before others do. And that will prevent you from being dragged down into the mundane territory of negativity or rejection or not a good day or a slow month like September. Real leaders with vision, what you see is what you get. They set their minds on the horizon. I love the statement on page 169. He says, leaders must strive to see more and before others do. And they set their minds on the horizon, meaning where they're going, and their hearts on the people. Isn't that what we've been learning? You don't set your heart on your own success. You set your heart on people and how you can get them there and how you can serve them and how you can add value. That is powerful vision. But here's the thing. You can't take your people farther than you can see. You got to be able to see it. Where do you see yourself going? Where? Because what you see is what you get. He's been saying this statement the whole chapter. There's more and before. Leaders have to increase your more and before to see more and before others. Okay, so the first point, leaders have to know that there is more and before out there. He said, this was one of his quotes, adding value to people was the birth of my vision. And I think that's what we're learning as a team, isn't it? That if you have a success mindset, like what rank am I going to get? How many points am I going to get? What's my paycheck going to get? Ultimately, that's selfish and you may or may not hit it. But if your vision is about adding value and serving people and serving your team, you will grow leaps and bounds and you will inevitably hit your goals. Adding value is the birth of true vision. When you know that there's more and before out there, you know, he made the point that he was in danger of thinking, he was tempted to think that there was no more out there, that he had attained everything that he was going to attain. And there was 2 points. And the first point that he was in danger of thinking that his vision was for the birds was when he was first starting out. He didn't have a track record of success and realizing his vision, and he lacked experience, needed to overcome all the obstacles. And isn't this something for us to consider as we're raising up leaders and bringing on new people, that just because they don't have experience and they're new, we've got to protect that vision and encourage them because it's out there and you can learn these skills. Everybody can learn these skills as long as they're coachable and they're willing to learn. And the second time that he was in danger of not expanding and growing in his vision was when he was at the top of his game and being a pastor. You know, he could write his ticket basically, and he had a great position, but he decided that he wasn't going to be ambivalent, that he was going to keep going. He wanted to keep growing and overcome new obstacles, and that enabled him to move forward. That is a danger of success, getting ambivalent. When you get a new rank and you're satisfied. I don't think any of us are there, otherwise you wouldn't be on a team call on a Thursday night. But here's what you have to realize. There is going to be challenges to your vision, right? Other people's opinions, being comfortable, or the lack of experience. That's okay. That's why you have to continue to move forward, set your eyes on the horizon, and know that there's more out there. And he said that there are 2 qualities to help with this mentality, because what we're going for is an abundance mentality, not a scarcity mentality. One is creativity. There is always an answer out there. There's always an answer out there. And that mindset helps you see things before others see it. Why? Because you expect to. And the second quality was flexibility. There's always more than one answer. There are no hopeless situations, just people who think hopelessly, according to John Maxwell. I love that. So know that there's more and before out there. You can always keep growing. 2, develop a process for finding that more and before. He talks about developing your strategy for developing your vision. Do you remember in chapter 6 when he went over the test, fail, learn, improve, re-enter cycle? It's the same thing for developing your vision. Test it out. Share it with people. Be wise with who you share it with, though. Who can you share it with that will give you honest, constructive feedback, okay? when you fail, when you fall, that actually allows you to find what doesn't work. And that is so important. For example, me getting to diamond in 6 months would not be an accurate vision, right? Or getting to where I want to go on working 1 hour a day. That's not going to get me where I want to go. But realizing that enables me to learn the next step with a teachable spirit plus humility that is necessary for expanding your vision. I loved Brittany's video today about how hungry are you? Ask your upline, what do I need to do? What am I missing? Where can I be tweaked? Because that shows that you really want to grow. And we all have room to grow. I don't care if you're Brooke Hemingway, she's got room to grow. None of us have arrived. We can all learn, which leads us to the next step. We can always improve. Continually ask yourself, am I getting better? Successful people ask themselves that questions every single day. That's the road to improvement. And then the re-enter, you must get back in the game and improve. Don't do the same thing that didn't work, okay? The third thing he says for improving your more and before, again, remember this is vision we're talking about, is spend time with people who inspire you to see the more and before. You raise your lid by getting around people that are stronger than you. Great tennis players do that. They want to play with people and practice with people at their level or better because it causes you to raise your game. Intentionally seek out people that have experiences that stretch you. You can't just hope that this is going to happen, Maxwell says. You have to be intentional about it. Ask your upline. Talk to people. And this is a great way you can listen to training videos. We have so many ample opportunities to listen to people that have been successful and that have gone in front of us and that know this. Ask them, who do you know that I should know? And then you think about these things, okay? You reflect on these, and then you take people with you. If I watch a good video, and Brittany does this all the time, she watches a good video, she sends it to me. She sends it to her leaders. When I watch a good video, I send it to my people because I want them to have their visions expanded and to grow as well. Okay, so who are you actively searching out? The fourth way to grow your more and before is to ask questions that will help you grow. Again, ask questions. This is very similar to getting around other people. Ask questions. He makes the point that early in his career, someone asked him, what's the difference between you as a leader at 30 versus you as a leader at 40? And he said, at 30, I gave lots of directions. At 40, I asked lots of questions. Gave directions, asked questions. I love that. Ask questions. And it's the same thing with our products, right, people? You don't just assume people are taking their products. I've made that mistake too many times. You've got to ask questions. The same thing we do with our product users, we do with our teammates. Ask questions, and ask questions of your upline too. Number 5, intentionally grow every single day. You have to spend time growing. Our fearless leader says this all the time, personal growth. He says, I forget who he said but that he heard Earl Nightingale, I think. He said that if you spend 1 hour a day learning anything for 5 years, you will become an expert on that subject. And here's the deal. Most of us don't want to do that. We want a pill. We want a 1.5-minute video. We want something quick and easy, a Red Bull of personal growth. But that's not going to happen. You've got to invest. I'm not just preaching to you. I'm preaching to myself. You've got to invest in personal growth and learning how to ask the right question and developing these skills. And when you do, guess what? You will be that leadership expert and you will be bringing people along with you, okay? So what's necessary as you're growing, after you're growing, as you're growing, you're more and before, you've got to take, one of the keys is you have to take personal ownership of your vision. And then he makes this chart on page 175 about when somebody else owns your dream versus when you own your dream. I'm not going to read this again. You've read it, but it's the difference between feeling like you're burdened and being energized, feeling like this is something that you have to do and it feels that like just heavy versus something that fires you up and that you know that it's going to get you where you want to go. That doesn't mean that it's always fun, people. Okay? I realized I needed to make another post, and that wasn't always fun for me, but guess what? Being able to take my children to Europe will be fun for me. That vision fuels me. Being able to see my husband not worry about 3 colleges and 3 weddings, that's fun for me. So I will go and I will make that post and I will expand my network. That's ownership of vision. So you've got to own it. And then he goes and he makes the point, what do you do to develop your vision? And I've got to fly through these. The first thing that he says is look within you. What do you feel? What fires you up? What is so important that it keeps you up at night, gives you great joy, makes your blood boil? This is all clues to your vision. And you must believe it for yourself. And he gave a great quote by Winston Churchill. And Churchill basically said on page 176, before you can inspire emotion, you must be swamped with it yourself. Before you can move their tears, your own must flow. To convince them, you must believe yourself. If you're trying to reach business builders and you don't have the vision for yourself as a successful business builder, it's not going to be effective. Your own tears have to flow. Can you taste it? Can you see it? How does it feel? What does your life look like? When that gets into the core of your being and you're able to communicate that effectively, people will start to follow. So look within you. And you need to have this from the inside out. Why? Because there's always going to be negative influences to pressure or distract or dilute you from that vision, okay? He says you can receive a vision for free, but the journey to fulfill that vision never is. Every day, listen people, every day there's opposition to you fulfilling your vision. And if it doesn't come from within, the mind games, what am I doing? This isn't going to work, because that's real, right? 80% of this business is mindset. It will come from without. Your kids are complaining, your husband's upset, your friends think that you've lost your rocker. I actually had someone tell a friend of mine that they thought that I was going to lose friends because I was in a network marketing company. There's always opposition, so you have to have an ownership of that vision. And your vision must have authenticity. To own it, you know, to be able to share it with somebody, you really need to own it. Because if I'm talking about Brittany's vision, or about Christina's vision, or about Brooke Hemingway's vision, that's not going to do it. I have to be able to communicate my vision, to be authentic and honest and really serve people and have them join me, okay? They say it has to have conviction and passion. And I don't remember who said this, but they basically said, you can't have an uncertain trumpet. Because when a trumpet blares, it is one of the most thrilling sounds. You don't want an uncertain trumpet. Okay. Woo, I've got to fly. Look behind you. What have you learned? Look around you. What's happening to others? Look above you. What does God expect of you? I do want to say something about this. He makes this statement. God's gift to me is my potential. The gifts that he's given me, the gifts that he's given you, and your potential is his gift to you. What you do with that is your gift back to God and to the world. I'm a Christian, and God has given me gifts. And my favorite parable is the parable of the talents. And go read it, look it up. And basically, he gives these servants different talents. And the one that took his talents and invested them wisely and got a return was the wise and faithful servant, and got a whole heck of a lot more at the end. And that's how I want to be. Ask God to give you that vision. Ask him, and I know he will. Okay. And looking ahead of you, what is the big picture? Okay. What is the big picture? And he talks about painting the picture for other people. How do you do this? How do you paint the picture of your vision, which is especially applicable to us in network marketing, because that's what you're doing. You're casting vision, right? But nothing will happen unless you're able and willing to communicate that vision and paint it clearly to mobilize people to join you. Now listen, I am preaching to myself. I am learning in this. And this is why being able to communicate clearly through words is so important. They talked about speech and sound and vision, and he said that sound was actually the most important sense because it conveys pictures and sound. Okay, so you need to show people where you're going, the horizon, the possibilities. You need to have the sun. It needs to be encouraging. You need to have the mountains. Every vision has challenges, but you say, we're going to do this together. You don't tell them it's going to be easy. You don't tell them they're going to get to diamond in 6 months. That's sleazy and deceptive and simply a lie. It's hard, but it's worth it. And it's attainable and it can be done. You acknowledge those challenges and you say, together, we're going to conquer them. You tell them about the birds. People need inspiration to fly. You remind them that they can rise up above this. You show them that there are flowers, that they need to stop, take a break, have a Sabbath, enjoy. They're doing this for their family. Show them the path. They need a direction to follow. They will follow you before they have a vision of their own. And you must be in that picture because, again, they're going to want to walk beside you. Okay. There's so much here. Never give up. He says, never give up. You never forget the people that you're motivated by, and you always remember why you're doing this. And this is why your why is so important. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. And if you haven't found it, which I think all of us have, you keep looking. And you own it, you nurture it, you embrace it, and you paint a compelling picture of it to others. Oh my goodness, and I've spoken for a half an hour. I think I better stop there because we can discuss a whole lot. I'm sorry I went over. Here, should I unmute everybody, Brittany?
No, don't unmute everybody. If you want to say something, definitely unmute yourself, though. You can stop recording. That was really, really good. You